On the river outside Montreal in Canada, qualifying for the free F1 Academy races this weekend, saw some impressive performances. Wildcard Canadian entrant Walter Fisher, plenty of part of the support, but Alba Larson making an error down into the final chicane. Often happens, of course. There are others that were making errors as well. Several, even Alicia Palmowski, although she would come back from that. And Ella Lloyd, who also did some damage. But it was Alicia Palmowski in the end that took pole position.
Can she back that up? That will be the big question. The opening race of the 2026 F1 Academy round number 2 season gets underway. And we're racing this weekend at Montreal, the home to the World Champions, the home to the Casino Straight on the exit turn 10, turn 11, and up towards turn 12, 13, and 14. Circuit like 4.3 kilometers, 2.7 miles, and the certain amount of laps we'll be doing. Race 1, 17. Practically all three will be 17 laps. Dorian Pan won race 1 here in 2025. Race 2 went the way of Emma Feldmeyer. And race 3 went the way of Chloe Chambers. Our reigning world champion, though, Dorian Pan, sadly not here this year after winning the championship last year. Who can go back-to-back? Here is our championship leader, Alicia Palmowski at the moment. She starts on pole position. There she is, currently starting on pole position. There's Megan Bruce in position 2. A very important weekend for her in terms of the championship as well, hoping to score herself some points. She starts position 2. In position 3, it is Peyton Westcott, who has done an absolutely amazing job so far this weekend. Of course, if you miss qualifying and how the format will work, I would highly recommend going back and checking that one out. Because race 1, of course, is determined off your first fastest lap. Race 2 is reverse grid from the order of today's race. And race 3, of course, is the second fastest lap time from qualifying. So the starting grid will more or less look like this. It is Jade Jackett in position 18, followed by then Rachel Robertson a bit further up the grid. Continuing on through the grid is Ella Lloyd, then Esme Kosterman in position 15 and 16. Going further up the grid once more, it is Autumn Fisher, the wildcard entry this weekend, and Natalia Granada in position 13 with the Sephora team. Stevenson for the McLaren Oxygen team, and of course Ava Dobson for the American Express team in position 12 and position 11. Nina Gaidman, then followed by Kaylee Countryman in position 9 and position 10, of course, for the Haas team as well. Lisa Billard and Alba Larson for the Scuderia Ferrari team, position 7 and 8. Further back down the grid is Rafaela Ferreira and Matilda Patz in position 5 and 6. The Aston Martin and Racing Bulls team. Emma Feldmeyer, our championship leader. Sorry, it was Emma Feldmeyer, championship leader, followed by Peyton Westcott. Then Megan Bruce and Alicia Palmowski, who's got pole position for race 1 and race 3. A bit later on today, Alicia Palmowski in qualifying was punching out the laps and did quite well to stay in that position. Of course, this weekend, racing around the Montreal circuit. Sadly, this weekend, though, I will be not streaming the Formula 1 Grand Prix due to the fact of how badly delayed I was and how inconvenient I got of actually, unfortunately, getting banned over the weekend from streaming. Don't know why. It's just YouTube being stupid. So, I will not be streaming the Formula 1 Grand Prix, but I will be keeping you well up to, I will still know all the information as to who won, as to what incidents happened, all that sort of stuff. I do plan on watching the Grand Prix as well. So, Alicia Palmowski starting on the left-hand side of the grid. Reports say that it's meant to rain at some point throughout the weekend. Will that happen race 2? Will it happen race 3? That will be the big question, but it's meant to rain at some point throughout the weekend. There is the grid of F1 Academy cars. Got 18 of them this weekend, and we're about to set sail now for the 4th time in 2026 off the formation lap, and the first of 3 races due to get underway right now. There is a light, and that is a stalled car, and that is our wildcard entry, the Canadian Unfortunately, not getting off the line, off the formation app. That is unfortunate. Ella Lloyd, though, this is a big name further back down the grid. Position 16 on the grid. This is a big name further back down the grid. Not a name we'd be expecting to be that far down the grid whatsoever, to be completely honest with you. There is Emma Feldmeyer, our championship leader, coming into this round. There as well is Matilda Pats in behind. This will be a very interesting run down towards turn number 1. There, Peyton Westcott. And also alongside Megan Bruce as well. So Megan Bruce, of course, starts position 2. Let's now take a listen to what Peyton Westcott had to say after qualifying.
No matter what. But I'm super excited to have more racing and just more track time. I think the opening race is something different, so it's going to have to, it's the same as a normal feature race, but it'll be a bit more intense, obviously starting on the front row, but it's just another opportunity to improve and see how we go.
Big opportunity to score some big points, but equally I am thinking about the championship, so as much as I do want to win the races, I just need to make wise decisions, keep a cool head at all times, and hopefully try and bring a great result home for the team. The team had a great result overall in qualifying, so really excited to bring it up.
Oh my god. Ads, go away, please. Ads. Seriously. So many of them.
So Alicia Palmowski, who is?
Alicia Palmowski, of course, starting off that pole position here will make this race very, very interesting. There, look, Jamie Chadwick alongside the Audi crew. Just recently was competing in the European Le Mans Series. Now it's come over to Canada to watch Emma Feldmeyer, see how she goes, along with the rest of the F1 Academy grid as well. This is going to be quite an intriguing race. Peyton Westcott there, starting position 3. See what she can do from that position. Still plenty of action still to come throughout the next 3 days. We've got F1 Academy, Italian F4, and the Formula Regional European Championship. Then, next weekend, it continues as well. I'm actually not sure what's on next weekend. It might be Monaco, the Monaco Grand Prix. I could be wrong. It might be a back-to-back weekend for the Formula 1 Grand Prix. But we'll see what happens. So, the drivers on the grid, making their way onto the grid. It could be a back-to-back Formula 1 weekend. It could be Montreal, then Monaco, which would be an absolutely amazing 2 weekends. Of course, we will have F2 there as well. I will not be streaming F2 this week either. I might do it Thursday, I'm not sure yet. But yeah, we'll see what happens in the first race of F1 Academy here this weekend. The lights will come on. And for the 4th time in 2026, 5 red lights come on, and it's lights out, and away we go. And a good start from Alicia Palmowski, not a good start from our championship leader. Emma Feldmeyer goes nowhere on the first lap, and down towards turn number 1, Alicia Palmowski will lead over Megan Bruce, and it's Peyton Westcott in behind, and just being squeezed out wide there. That looked to be Nina Gaidman slightly getting off a bit wide, and now to the outside, Tina Hausman, who will be looking for a move. Not going to happen. Now down towards and into the fast left right-hander. Can anybody get any moves done sideways there? One of the Williams cars as they go into braking. In towards now, up towards the hairpin. Now up towards turn 6, the drivers will go there. Esme Kosterman getting pushed a little bit wide. Side by side there with Ella Lloyd. Can Ella Lloyd possibly make a move here? Yes, she can. To the outside now, Ella Lloyd. Esme Kosterman, side by side as they hit the braking mark, as they hit the braking zone. Slight lock up there, and that is Jade Jacket off the road. Yeah, this has been an absolutely frantic start here for F1 Academy, but so far so good there. Look, covering is Tina Hausman and Peyton Westcott. Both of them, of course, covering. There's Rafaela Ferreira just in behind. But so far, so good. Alicia Palmowski, can she keep this pace up? That would be very surprising indeed. Ella Lloyd now. Battle with Ava Dobson, who has a puncture as well. That is very unfortunate. Ava Dobson has a puncture. There's Granada as well, as they go side by side now. Matilda Pats Off the road and deep into the corner goes Peyton Westcott. And she might have to give the position back depending if she was head of the apex. Ella Lloyd way up the curve. Esme Kosterman and Natalia Granado in behind. They're 4 wide head making their way down towards turn number 1. Lisa Billard, Rafaela Ferreira, late under brakes. Ferreira to the outside now. Pat off the road, up in the grass and way up the curb as well. Larson was wide and way off in the dust as well, which almost compromised her exit. Look at these guys going all at it. Now down towards turn number 4, turn 5. On the exit, put the power down way on the curb there. Look, is Ella Lloyd as she looks to try and get in on this, but this is a big battle pack here. Matilda Pats way back down to Nina Gaidman. And maybe even further back, which might even be Ella Lloyd. Yeah, you can see there Ella Lloyd just in behind as Matilda Pats now starting to pull away the margin. 4.2 seconds to Peyton Westcott in a mad first lap here. But Peyton Westcott might be under investigation here, possibly for cutting that chicane, depending, of course, if she was ahead at the apex. That is the big question. Alba Larson now looking for the move down the inside. Not going to happen towards the hairpin. As now they apply the power on the exit. Alba Larson now will get more or less a tow from the car in front of, which is Rafaela Ferreira. Just up behind and close goes in there. Alba Larson now covering to the inside of the circuit. As she does not want Lisa Billard is deep into the corner. And Billard absolutely deep into the corner there. And Alba Larson's gone off the road and she's lost about 4 positions. No, she hasn't. She's actually regained that track position there. Billard now covering. In behind, get Nina Gaidman as she looks for a move. Not going to happen. Down towards turn number 1 once more they go. What a frantic opening couple of laps here. And Nina Gaidman. Then in behind, it's Ella Stevenson. Courtney Crone as well. Also in behind as they make the run up towards turn 4, turn 5. Alicia Palmosky with the fastest lap of the race. 1 minute 40.8 on the first couple of opening laps. But so far, so good. Nina Gaidman now under braking, turning the car in. Very nicely done. Flick the car left, flick the car right through the twiddly bits of the circuit. Nina Gaidman there, sitting at the moment in position 8 and closing ever so slightly. Look, onto the back of Lisa Billard. Can she possibly make a move? That will be the big question now. Turning into the right hand up. Turn 13 incident involving Peyton Westcott failing to follow race director's instructions, which would have been use the white line at the chicane, follow that white line around so that you don't gain too much of an advantage. Now, that could be a problem for Peyton Westcott. She possibly could get a 5 or 10 second time penalty, which could and will drop her back to about 13th or 14th on the grid. And that will not be an ideal situation for her to be in. Alicia Palmosky, 1.6 seconds out in front to Megan Bruce. Bit of a slipstreaming train here. Look, it is between Stevenson, Courtney Crone, and Ella Lloyd. Just in between that, Lisa Billard is in the pit lane. Now, of course, no compulsory pit stops for F1 Academy. So there must be possibly a bit of front wing damage. Yes, there is. Onto the front right of Lisa Billard's car. There, look, that is Emma Feldmeyer making her way back up the grid as she didn't get off the line. Up the curb now as she looks to try and go right around the outside. Is there traction on the outside of the circuit? I think there might be. Just enough. And that is on Jade Jacket. She will now have the inside run down towards the next corner. Deep under braking and twitching on the rear end. But Autumn Fisher and Emma Feldmeyer side by side. Very nicely done. Yeah, very nicely done. Emma Feldmeyer just held her line. And in the process, it actually worked for her. She held her line, and she had the grip, actually, on the outside of the circuit. But our championship leader there, look at the background, Emma Feldmeyer did not get off the line, and that was a shocking start for herself. But so far, so good. Alicia Palmosky would lead out in front over Megan Bruce. There to the outside, look, is Ella Stevenson. This is Emma Feldmeyer. Her revs were quite high. The initial start looked to be not too bad. It actually looked like she was going to get a bit of wheel spin off the line, but then the car just stalled on it. So that was not ideal. It almost like the car shut off, it looks to be. There is Ava Dobson getting way out wide and actually nearly tapping the wall, possibly, on the outside of the circuit there. You just see the dust being kicked up on the outside of the circuit. It's still very dusty on the outside there. Definitely wouldn't want to be getting off on that dust on the outside of the circuit. Very deadly indeed. As now the drivers will make their run through. There's Ava Dobson there on the replay. And this is her lock-up and straight down into the runoff road down there. That's at turn 9 and turn 10. And this was contacted. That was a spin down there at turn number 2. That was Natalie Granada getting slightly off the road there, being actually spun around there. That is Lisa Billard going deep into the corner. And that would eventually lose her back down to position 17 with front wing damage, which would be very unfortunate indeed. This battle look for second and third, Megan Bruce between Peyton Westcott. Palmosky has so much pace in the early part of this race. Peyton Westcott deep into the corner and slightly locked up that left front tyre. Luckily not to run into the back of Megan Bruce. Yeah, if Megan Bruce can stay here, this will be quite good points. Of course, this is not where the big points are scored. Race 1 and race 2, you only get 10 points for the race win. Race 3, you get 25 points for the race win. So overall, you get nearly 35 points if you win all 3 races, plus get pole position. But at the rate that Alicia Palmosky is flying through this race, it is very much certain that she might even go on to win race 1 for F1 Academy. Now, turning right into the hairpin at turn number 10. On the exit, turn 11, and up now towards turn 12, 13, 14. Turn 12, not really a corner. Ella Lloyd and Ella Stevenson squeezed to the outside of the road there was Ella Lloyd from Ella Stevenson. The two Ellas going all at it. Indeed, down towards into the chicane, sideways. Ella Lloyd, still not enough grip on this circuit. Very much not enough. Drivers struggling for traction, struggling for grip in the early phase of this race. Now, turning to the right-hander goes Ella Lloyd. And now she'll be looking to catch Kaylee Countryman just up in front in position 8. Then Nina Gaidman, of course. And that is unfortunate. Esme Costerman with a what looks to be right front puncture. And that is unfortunate. Esme Costerman will be out of this race. Turn 6 incident involving Costerman and Dobson. Possibly contact between the two. And the rubber falling off that tyre as we speak here, which is very unfortunate. There, the Esme Costerman crew getting ready with a brand new right rear Pirelli tyre. It won't be brand new, but it will be enough to get her through this race. 11 laps to go. Alicia Palmosky, who will lead out in front. Over then, Megan Bruce. Then it's Peyton Westcott. This has been a very good start from Alicia Palmosky. The battling that has happened behind has just sort of helped her in the early phase of this race. In the early phase of this race, the early battling has just helped her and has got her pulling away 4.1 seconds now the margin, and with the fastest lap of the race. Megan Bruce, Peyton Westcott, position 2, position 3, as Mick Costerman coming out of pit lane there in the background. Now, getting put a lap down. That's not exactly what you want here in F1 Academy, because you don't get your lap back under a safety car. So that is Esme Costerman's race. Well done. In the Lego coloured livery, is now turning their way up through the right, through the left, and applying the power once more. Alicia Palmosky there. This is a look at Emma Felbermeyer. This is her on Ava Dobson. Down towards into the heavy braking zone of the chicane. Can she get the move done? Yes, she can. And that is Emma Felbermeyer. I think that's up into her position 13 or 14. That's up to position 11 for Emma Felbermeyer. So closer to the first point of the race. Ella Stevenson currently scoring that first point. Alicia Palmosky scoring the big 10 points. coming into this race. So there's up to 36 points available for Alicia Palmowski, which at this rate would put her in the championship lead by about 27 points. It'd put her in the race lead of the championship lead by a whole race win in the early part of the season, which would very much boost her confidence here for Alicia Palmowski. She turns her way through the chicane once more, out the other side, and making sure, of course, not to hit that wall of champions on the outside. Peyton Westcott, penalty of what I would only think 5 to 10 seconds for not failing to follow race director's instructions. So Peyton Westcott, just as you thought her race couldn't get any worse, it certainly has. That's possibly maybe even a 5 or 10 second penalty for herself, and that will put her right back down the grid, which is very unfortunate for herself. And with that penalty, 5 seconds added to her race. Unfortunate for Peyton Westcott, and that will drop her back to about P8 or P9 at the end of this race, if of course she stays where she is, if the margin stays where she is, if the field doesn't spread out anymore, which of course we don't really see that in F1 Academy with the toe, the slipstream. It sort of keeps the pack bunch together, and you do normally see an odd safety car here and there. But I'm given the vibe at this point, with just over 9 laps to go, maybe we might not see that evident safety car that we normally would. Incident involving Kosterman speeding in the pit lane, and that is noted for Kosterman. So being a lap down now, that is unfortunate for herself. Ava Dobson a lap down, Lisa Billard a lap down as well. So, very fast-paced race for Alicia Palmowski. This is the way she likes it. Just sort of a bit fast-paced, trying to get this race done and over with, trying to extend that margin a little bit as well. Heading on to lap 8 of this race. Going to finish lap 8 and on to lap 9. Peyton Westcott now under braking. In towards the right, in towards the left once more. This is now on board Peyton Westcott through right, through left. Outside there, look, the wall of champions. Ready to bite you if you need. But Peyton Westcott, of course, will be looking to try and extend the what is a 5 second penalty for herself. What she needs to extend, to be completely honest with you. The rubber down there at turn number 1. As this race goes on, of course, it is quite a high load corner. Turn 1, you're turning in. 5 second time penalty, speeding in the pit lane for Esme Kosterman. So that just mudded her race a little bit more. Now here, look, Peyton Westcott applying the pressure. The outside of the road, dust on the outside, and it's off the road. Peyton Westcott, not grip on the outside of the road, not enough grip whatsoever. Just shafted her race. Now she's under pressure by Alba Larson. Alba Larson to the outside of the road, and she will get the move done. Under braking into the right-hander of the next part of the circuit. Very nicely done. Not nicely done for Peyton Westcott, but very nicely done for Alba Larson. So we'll get a replay of that in a minute. But what she's done there is she's gone to the outside of the circuit, where there's definitely not as much grip on the outside of the circuit. This is the replay. So here, look, Peyton Westcott. And this is just Megan Bruce saying, yeah, have a bit of dust on the outside of the circuit. That's exactly what she's done. She's gone way off the road, where more dust is off the outside of the circuit as well. And it's costed her about 4 positions. So probably not the smartest move. But now she's back down to position 6. And that might cost her any real sort of positioning in this race. So we'll drop her back to P14 at this point, as now Nina Gateman and Courtney Countryman, as Nina Gateman deep into the chicane. Does she give that position back? No, she was ahead of the apex, so she would keep the position, but she has gained time out of it. Now, stewards have been very strict on cutting the chicane. That might be a problem for her.
You have the pace to take her.
Tilda Pat's being told to, you have the pace to take her, which is very, very, it's very good, very confident, very energizing when you hear those words in your ear over the radio. You have the pace to take Megan Bruce on here in the early phase, or the late phase of this race, with just under 7 laps to go. It's very, very moralizing indeed to know that you have the pace of the car in front of you, to have so that you have the pace to actually overtake the car in front of you, which is always good to see. As now they turn their way through the right and the left-hander, putting the power down, applying the power ever so slightly, just over 7 laps to go. Palmowski, Bruce, Pats, Ferreira, and Albert Larson. Now, under braking. Will Megan Bruce be put under pressure? There, look, that is Nina Gaidman putting pressure on the back, and Payne Westcott maybe just struggling here with a bit of dust, maybe a bit of marbles on the outside of her tyres, which will not be handy at all. But ever since she's gone off the road, she's lacked confidence and maybe just dropping behind to take that slipstream off the back of Nina Gaidman, and now she's punching a hole in the air. Indeed she is. She'll be punching a hole in the air for the car in front as now they turn their way through the Wall of Champions chicane. They're the Wall of Champions on the outside of the road. We've had Michael Schumacher. We've had loads of people hit the wall. Fernando Alonso, Sebastian Vettel. All very famous names have hit that outside wall. And that's, of course, is why it is called the Wall of Champions. Because it is clumped a lot of, or more or less taken out a lot of drivers in the recent past. Now Payne Westcott back up the inside, or actually being pressured by Kaylee Countryman. There is now to the inside of the road there. Ella Lloyd taking advantage and getting the move done on Kaylee Countryman. Ella Lloyd looking up the inside, deep under braking, nearly makes contact with Payne Westcott in the rear end of the car. And again, just showing there, Countryman struggling with grip on the outside of the road as she looks for a move with Ella Lloyd. Ella Lloyd now to the outside of the road. Is this going to work well? Payne Westcott's actually on the dirty side of the road. Ella Lloyd with more grip on the inside of the road gets the move done. Yeah, it's where the rubber's been laid down from F1 and F2 throughout the weekend, which is why it's actually given her that advantage. Because what she did is she set herself up to actually put Payne Westcott on the outside of the road so that she didn't have as much grip as there to the outside of the road. There, Kaylee Countryman being squeezed and now under pressure by Ella Stevenson. This is an insane race for F1 Academy. Kaylee Countryman now back to the inside. Ella Stevenson will also take advantage of that and look to grab that position. Indeed, she does. And now Payne Westcott is on the verge of possibly losing points in this race. And this is possibly for Payne Westcott. She's being controlled by emotion at this point. She's not happy that she tried to make that move on Matilda Pass. She ran wide and lost positions. And it's all because of the dust on the outside of the road down there. It is not an ideal position to be in. Now out of the Wall of Champions goes the cars through the chicane. And actually now putting a bit of pressure is Ella Lloyd on the back of Kaylee Countryman in this race. Welcome in, everybody. If you are enjoying this stream, though, make sure you hit the like button and subscribe. Very much help out. As now to the outside of the road there. Look, it is Ella Lloyd. Can she do anything? No, she cannot. Not that time around. Sorry, that's Ella Stevenson. There. That is Jamie Chadwick, the F1 Academy advisor there on the right-hand side of your screen. As they make them run through there, Kaylee Countryman getting all sorts of sideways on the exit of T9, T10. As Emma Felbermeyer now putting pressure on the poor old Payne Westcott, who's now being shoved around the outside and way up the curb as well. She gets that move done, and Payne Westcott's dropping like a fly. Certainly she is. 5 to go left in this race, and she's dropping like a flippin' fly in this race. She certainly is. This has been a poor old race for Emma Felbermeyer. Not for Emma Felbermeyer. Well, she's making her way through the grid. Payne Westcott, though, shocking. Absolutely shocking. This will be about P14, maybe even close to P15 for Payne Westcott, maybe even P16 in this race. Well, this will probably be P15 for Payne Westcott and almost dead last. So, not a good race for her whatsoever. Here, further back up the grid, Payne Westcott, she sits 4th in the championship. Here now, Payne Westcott might have a problem here. She might actually have a problem because she's dropping at a rate of knots here. She's just been overtaken now by Rachel Robertson. And so my thought was, into pit road goes Payne Westcott. And this is a really unfortunate sight. She definitely has a problem here because she's dropped about 10 spots. And into pit lane is that car possibly being retired out of this race? And this is big, big news for the championship. It might just be a bit of dust. It is very dusty offline. You can see there the crew working hard to try and clear some of the dust out of the ducts of that car. Because again, it is very, very dusty offline. And the marshals don't clean offline. They only clean on the racing line. And it's where all the dust has been kicked up as well. All the dust has been left. Of course, they do try and clean the track thoroughly with all the dust that was, with the big plumes of it that have just sat on the racing line. So they try and clean that before the weekend. But there's not much you can do when you get off the track. All the dust is off the racing line. It's very unfortunate though. Peyton Westcott will finish with, of course, an added 5-second time penalty. This is Alicia Palmosky. Bit of debris being kicked up there. That is very strange indeed. Possibly, is that damage off Alicia Palmosky's car? If I was to guess, I could only imagine that is damage off Alicia Palmosky's car. If it is, then that's very unfortunate. Turn 13 incident involving Nina Gaidman failing to follow race director's instructions. And that would be possibly because she cut the chicane a bit earlier on in this race, which has been a big talking point as well. Emma Feldmeyer, at this rate, possibly looking to score 1 point when it could have been more than just 1 point in this race, which is very unfortunate. Megan Bruce also not really talked about much so far in this race. Throughout the last 6 laps, we haven't talked about her because there's been a lot of action further back down the grid. But very nicely done to hold off Matilda Pats, Rafaela Ferreira, Alba Larson, probably one of 3 of the most experienced drivers in this field. Megan Bruce, her first year in F1 Academy. So, very experienced in their own right. Pats, Ferreira, and Larson, very experienced. Larson in her second year this year. Alba Larson, of course, that was her first year last year. Ferreira in her first or second year, either one. And Megan Bruce in her first year. So, 3 very experienced drivers, but Megan Bruce doing a very good job to hold off Matilda Pats. Turn 1 incident will be investigated after the race. I'm guessing that was the spin that we saw. There is a loose debris flag, or a slippery surface flag, down on the back straight there. Look, that is the slippery surface flag. Yeah, that was possibly because of Alicia Palmosky, who kicked up that bit of carbon fibre that was sitting on the racing line. I couldn't imagine it's oil on the racing line, because if it was, we probably would have a safety car to try and clear that. I don't think race control will throw a safety car in this race, because again, we have gone 15 laps without a safety car. But then yet again, we've seen some crazier things in F1 Academy. Again, you've got to think back to last year here at Canada, where we had probably the most insane race of F1 Academy's career. 3 wide down into the Wall of Champions chicane, and a car going off the road, cutting the chicane, still ends up winning the race. I think that was, of course, Nina Gaidman. So, very historic times returning here to the Canadian Grand Prix, and very good to see we're supporting alongside F1 as well. So that's very good to see this weekend. So now the Packers calm down a little bit with just over 2 laps to go. We did hear in the pre-race interviews that that this race would be quite chaotic. That it has been. But now we're cruising into the last 3 or 4 laps. Alicia Palmosky, 9.5 seconds margin. Back to Megan Bruce. Then, of course, Matilda Pats. Rafaela Ferreira, of course, we don't have BOP in F1 Academy. We just have genuine F4 cars here in this series. So, but you do get that reverse grid pole, which I think might go the way of Nina Gaidman. Has very much, or it might be Kaylee Countryman who grabs that reverse grid pole, or it could be Ellis Stevenson. Either one of those 3. If it was to be Nina Gaidman, though, I can't remember because I did F1 Academy qualifying like 4 days ago. So it was quite a few days ago, but it was either one of those three. And if it was to be Nina Gademan, as we 10-13 incident involving Nina Gademan failing to follow race director's instructions. This has been a shocking race for Nina Gademan and a shocking race for Payne Westcott and Esme Costerman. But I was going to say, if it was to be Nina Gademan, then it would be her 5th reverse grid pole in a lot of races that she's done, and she's almost been the pro of reverse grid poles. She's won a lot of reverse grid races. Think back to China. She won the reverse grid race there. She possibly will be hoping to win the reverse grid race tomorrow, when of course I will stream it. Or it might be today. Either one. I literally scheduled it like an hour ago and I forgot. But speaking of scheduling stuff, up next though, stay tuned with us because we've got Italian F4 coming up next, which will be very interesting indeed. And I can actually finally commentate it because I've got the sheets. I've got the drivers list. There's Minnie Mouse. Wow. I certainly wasn't expecting Minnie Mouse to be waving the checkered flag at the end of an F1 Academy race. Not weird at all. Lisa Billard with the fast lap of the race. That's just taken a extra point off the back of Alicia Palmowski's weekend. Not as if her weekend has got any worse. It hasn't gotten worse. It's just gotten better, to be completely honest with you. It just continues to get better and better. And she does seem to have a lot of pace at this point. Speed Trap currently says at the moment, Countryman sits at the top. Again, she is quite well into a slipstream train, more or less. So that would be understandable as to why she would be at the top of the Speed Trap. But Nina Gademan, of course, still under investigation, currently up in position 6 at the moment. See what she can do from that position. But yeah, again, she's about 4.6 seconds back from Alba Larson. 5-second time penalty as we speak for Nina Gademan, failing to follow race director's instructions. And that will be from the Wall of Champions chicane, where she cut it a bit earlier on today in this race. And that's unfortunate. But Alicia Palmowski, surely this has to be the biggest F1 Academy race winning gap we've seen in quite a long time. 10 seconds this time around for Alicia Palmowski, and the only thing she could do wrong is smack a fence on the exit of the Wall of Champions chicane. But I don't think that's going to happen. She'll take it very easy now on this last lap of this race. Alicia Palmowski, all she's wanted to do so far this season is win a race. And oh boy, I think she might have just done that in the finest fashion possible. Down towards the final corner, Minnie Mouse waves the checkered flag, and she does so for Alicia Palmowski. She wins race 1 of the F1 Academy here at Canada for the Formula 1 Grand Prix weekend, and what a weekend this has been. Emma Feldmeyer, who stalled off the line, she's made up 8 positions and up into position 10. She won't be sad about that, but she won't be happy. So she'll be mid. She'll be happy, but she also won't be extremely happy about that result. But Alicia Palmowski wins by 10.1 seconds at the end over Megan Bruce, Matilda Pats, Ferreira, Larson, Lloyd, Kaylee Countryman, Ella Stevenson, Nina Gademan, Emma Feldmeyer, followed by then Robertson, Fisher, Jade Jacket.
Winner.
Yeah, that's the one. That's the one. Good job. Make a bigger job. You deserve it. Good job.
Yeah, but come on. Megan still. Is Megan P2?
Yeah, Megan P2 and Rafaela P4 went on for the whole game. Good.
Oh my god, yes. Well done, guys. Well done. That's Megan.
Yeah.
Very nicely done. Then, of course, it's Granada, Billard, Westcott, Dobson, and Esme Costerman running out your 18 cars for the F1 Academy race number 1 of the weekend. 10.1 seconds the margin. Megan Bruce.
As before.
Hey, Mason, Megan. P2. Good job.
Thank you, guys. That was fun.
A woman of very short words is Megan Bruce. So Not everybody has to have a lot of words to explain how happy she would be with a podium. Matilda Pats. There in the background, Rafaela Freire. Then you've got Nina Gaidman and Alba Larson as well. So very two experienced drivers. They'll be starting their way a bit further up the grid. I need to plug my speaker in before it dies of death. There we go. Problem solved. Life crisis solved. And let's celebrate now. Let's do a bit of celebrating, shall we?
Allez, good job, Matilda. P3 and finally a podium from Aston. Oh my God, yes! Finally! It's time to work from. Yep, absolutely. One of the, hopefully, 2 other podiums we get this weekend.
So they're just referencing that she won't be starting as far up the grid as what she will be in race number 2 here, and I don't think they possibly have the pace by that point of saying there. I can only imagine. I was going to say something, which is why I cut back, but I suppose we'll cut back to the world feed and I'll say it at the end of the straight. Let's celebrate, and it's Alicia Pamlowski who wins race 1 of F1 Academy.
Good gains forward for her, which is going to be crucial across the whole weekend for her. But solid drive, no mistakes, made it look pretty easy, did Alicia Pamlowski.
Absolutely. A really impressive job. And I have to say, I think, her potential for winning the championship were very early on in the season. But looking at how she had performed last year in her first season, and now she's really putting it together, and she is potentially a major contender for the championship. She is now leading the points, having done what she's done here today.
She is, and momentum is a huge thing, and she seems to just be thriving with the car, with the team, loads and loads of confidence, growing each time she goes out on track. And we've seen what momentum can do in the past. If we look at like previous champions, Marta Garcia, Abby Pulling, of course, when she got that momentum by winning both races in Miami, she never looked back and was able to win the championship a race weekend early. Of course, Alicia would love to do the same. Makes it a bit trickier with the added races and reverse grid races that we have in the format that was introduced last year. But an incredible job, and she'll be starting on pole position again tomorrow. Of course, we have later on today the reverse grid race, so she'll be starting down in 8th place, and that will be at 6:05 local time this evening.
Well, superb performance also by Matilda Pats, and for Aston Martin to get that podium finish, that is great stuff. I've got 2 British drivers and 1 German driver onto the podium effectively, because Alicia and Megan both British, but a German racer here, Matilda Pats, doing another great job. And also because she's in her first full season. She did do Montreal last year, so she knows this track, but she didn't actually have the results in the race quite so much. She had best finish 11th and then 2 DNFs, so it's come together for her much better this time.
Yes, it certainly has. As plenty, as Susie Wolf gets Nora Mackeys, comes down to support. It's always great to see all the team principals come down when their drivers do get. And yeah, it certainly was a great race. Lots of fighting all the way through. And Alicia, very deserving winner, of course, who's been unstoppable all weekend. And very energetic. Flag waving as well from Minnie Mouse.
Indeed. Yeah, that was fun to see. And as you say, great job by Alicia Pamlowski. And in her second full season in F1 Academy, but she's putting it together extremely well. They had a recent testing at Silverstone. She was second overall, but she was rapid throughout. Ella Lloyd and she were doing virtually the same time in the end. As you say, fun to see who's helping out with F1 Academy.
And also some first points for Matilda Pats as well this season. And actually in her F1 Academy career, obviously we mentioned she was the wild card. So what a way to do it, getting a podium. First points as well on the board for Ella Stevens, who finished in 8th place, and Kaylee Countryman as well in 7th place.
Fabulous to see. And we are going to enjoy the podium in just a moment. And you can see the enjoyment that's going on around. Now, just before we go off, I'll have a chat. Let's listen in.
I had quite a long. Yeah. I was behind Kate and the young crush, and would you at Simon David? Yeah. And then she got a penalty. But then she anyway had. Yeah. And then. So what happened to Lindsay? Because you were under a lot of pressure. And she retired. She retired? Yeah. I thought what? Damage. I don't know. Oh, oh, you were in so much pressure. I don't think she knows. I picked it like 10 times. I know. Yeah, after this, she. Wow. Okay. And rappers people. Yeah. Is that a? Yeah. You're racing on your own, which is like just a long run back. It kind of got quite secret, right? And also, secretly serious. The car. Yeah. I was like launching. I couldn't think of it. It was quite raw. It was throwing me off. Was it? Yeah. You had quite a big of a move. I was trying to take it like Holly and then.
Well, always fun to hear them chatting away, but just to remind you, for Alicia Palmowski, that has become the largest ever winning margin in Academy. That was last seen. The previous best was just over 8 seconds, but to do that by just over 10 seconds was very impressive. Of course, it is always a part of not having a safety car during the race. We had no safety car, so that allowed Alicia to just do her own thing out in front and pull out that advantage. But it's still one to remember.
It certainly is, and Alicia Palmowski, now leading the championship by 19 points over Emma Felboy, and that also promotes Rafaela Ferreira up into 3rd place in the championship standings as well.
Well, here we are then, getting all set for the podium for the first of 3 races here for F1 Academy in Montreal.
Stupid ads. Ads. We hate the ads. We hate the ads. The ads. You all hate the ads. We hate the flipping ads.
Fantastic just from Matilda Pats, finishing in 3rd position. Matilda Pats, who now has taken that podium for Aston Martin. Megan Bruce finishing in 2nd place with Tag Heuer and the Campos team. And the Campos team taking on 2 British drivers. It's Alicia Palmowski that has taken the victory, backed by Red Bull, and Susie Wolf, who is congratulating an absolutely superb win by Alicia Palmowski.
Very nicely done there from Alicia Palmowski, who wins race number 1 of the weekend, or the opening race this weekend. Here, very nicely done. As now the the trophies will be handed out to all the drivers. And what a race! What a race this has been for all of these drivers. Of course, still 3 more streams left to come today. We've got the Italian F4 Championship that'll be kicking off in just under 5-10 minutes time as the celebrations get underway. And Alicia Palmowski, Matilda Pats, and Megan Bruce, your top 3. Then Frecker from 5:30, Italian F4 race number 2 from 7:40. Then it is Frecker race number 1 from 2:40 tomorrow. F1 Academy 3:45. Italian F4 once more from 4:45. Freck qualifying part 2 from 7:40. Then the final races of the weekend is Italian F4 final heat race. Then it is Freck F1 Academy to round out the weekend from 20 to 8. So, very nicely done. Alicia Palmowski sprays the champagne, and so do the other three. And now will make their way back towards their garages. Yeah, very nicely done there from the F1 Academy drivers. So, the results from race number 1. It's Alicia Palmowski with the largest winning margin and the fastest lap of the race in the end, which was the way of Payne Westcott. Then it's Megan Bruce, Matilda Pats, Rafaela Ferreira, Alba Larson, Ella Lloyd, Kaylee Countryman, Ella Stevenson, Nina Gaidman, and Emma Feldmeyer. Of course, that largest winning margin was held by Abby Pulling, now is held by Alicia Palmowski of 10.1 seconds. Rachel Robertson, Autumn Fisher, Jade Jacket, Natalia Grana, and it is Lisa Billard, Peyton Westcott, Eva Dobson, and Esme Costerman, with the fastest lap of the race being a 1:39.1, held by Peyton Westcott. So, that is it for F1 Academy, the opening race of the weekend. But up next, though, it's time for Italian F4. Race 2 will be sometime tomorrow. Here, that will be, of course, from 3:45, straight after Freck, race number 1. That is it, though, for the opening race of F1 Academy. Catch you tomorrow from 3:45. Till then, it's bye-bye.
The 3 races over, Alicia Palmowski now leading the championship from Feldmeyer in 2nd place with Rafaela Ferreira in 3rd. Great day for Campos, though. They're leading in the teams championship. No surprise about that. Please join us later. We will be back for the reverse grid race.